I'm not going to jail.
Outside, bro.
Hey, please don't grab me, please. Please. Don't
grab on me.
Please.
Don't keep recording him.
Keep recording, bro. Ask me, please.
She's trying to...
Can she do that? Pull this guy out of his house with no arrest warrant, with no search warrant? This comes to us from Wichita, Kansas. This was submitted by Bubba. This is his home. He said that on the afternoon of September 9th, between 3 and 4 p.m., while he was at home playing GTA 5, that a relative visited him. So he went outside to speak with him. Upon returning inside, he noticed that there was a vehicle from the neighborhood that had parked by the curb. While they were in the house, one of the individuals from the car suddenly hopped onto Bubba's child's go-kart and drove away in Bubba's go-kart without Bubba's consent or without Bubba's knowledge. And unfortunately, they subsequently lost control, apparently, of the go-kart while driving the go-kart and injured themselves. They left that go-kart in the middle of the street and then knocked on Bubba's door to inform him that his go-kart was damaged. Bubba asked them where they had left it. They indicated that it was a block away and that it was obstructing traffic. He went to retrieve the go-kart, obviously, and when he arrived, he encountered 3 individuals standing around, and that's when he learned that the go-kart had bumped into one of their cars. So to make a long story short, Bubba had transported the go-kart back to his home. But shortly after returning home, the police arrived and knocked on Bubba's front door. So Bubba opened the door and he spoke with the officer, and the officer asked if he had any information about the incident, clarifying that no one was in trouble and that she just needed to complete some paperwork. Bubba told her everything that he knew at that time about the go-kart incident. The officer then asked for his name, and from his partially open door, he identified himself as Bubba, and she noted his name and inquired about another person who may have been involved. Bubba didn't know his name. He was unfamiliar with him, but that she was looking for somebody who may have been injured. The officer asked if he knew where that individual lived. Bubba informed her that he did not know. She then requested Bubba's name, to which I declared Bubba, he wrote. Subsequently, she stated that he was now under arrest for obstruction. So Bubba stated, I retreated further into my home, asserting her need for a warrant to enter. But she argued that she could enter because of my arrest and attempted to pull me outside by grabbing my t-shirt. This led to a struggle during which the officer deployed her taser multiple times. Eventually, I complied when she called for backup out of concern for my safety. Here's the footage that was taken. Take a look.
She already said you're in full.
Hey, lady, am I in full? Don't tell me. What's going on here? Stop, please. What's going on here? I'm telling you. Please. Stop. What are you doing? Stop.
Get out here, then.
I'm trying to talk to you.
Get out here.
I don't want my dog. Don't hurt my
Get
dog.
out here.
I'm going to go out there.
She's so wrong. You are wrong as fuck. You are so wrong for that shit.
I didn't do nothing to you.
Stop.
You cannot do that.
Please, don't grab
You
me.
cannot do that now. You are so fucked up. You want to get your bag you my nigga for the whole shit. Thank God.
Yes, you are under arrest.
She didn't hit him 2 times.
I didn't do anything. I didn't do it myself.
Stop.
I didn't do anything.
Listen, I already explained it all to you, man.
I gotta be on the
What do you
Please break the law for me, because I don't
You're under
understand.
arrest for
Can you
obstruction.
tell? What's
I don't understand.
Yeah,
What you
explain
mean by it?
What's that
But you didn't give me my rights. I wasn't under arrest without me giving me my regular rights. No,
What's
without
your
giving me
instruction?
my
What's
rights.
your instruction?
I'm at 13, 14.
I'm going. Hey.
I didn't do
They
anything.
crazy.
14, maybe I'm-
They crazy. She just walked in that man's
I don't want to
house.
be a structure.
She just walked in that man's house and
I
taking
want
his
to
life.
assault an officer. I know my laws.
Come outside.
I came to get my brother
Alright,
to ask a question. I'm not going
Step
to jail.
outside, bro.
Hey, please don't grab me, please.
Don't
Please.
grab on me.
Please.
Don't keep recording him.
Keep recording, bro. Ask me, please.
She's trying to kill him.
I'm actually trying not to do nothing wrong. Don't put me on arrest for something I didn't do. I didn't commit no crime. What crime did I commit? Bro, hold me down. Just keep on in my house. I'm walking in my house without a
So Bubba was arrested right out of his home, and he recently learned that he has the following criminal charges, which are still pending. He hasn't had his first court hearing. Battery on a law enforcement officer. Physical contact with a county or city officer on duty. That's the first charge. Secondly, possession of opiate, opium, narcotics, or a certain stimulant. Third, interference with a law enforcement officer. Unknown circumstances, a misdemeanor. And lastly, fourth, duty of a driver to report upon damaging unattended vehicle/property, unknown conviction. Remember, if you want to file a civil rights lawsuit, you have to first beat the criminal charges. There's a Supreme Court case called Heck versus Humphreys, and it will cause you a problem if you get a state court conviction and then later go to federal court to try to establish a constitutional violation. They'll point to the state court judgment and say, look, but you already pled guilty or found guilty in the state court. Even if we side with you, we think your constitutional rights were violated. Really, our hands are tied because we can't go around messing with state court judgments. We're not like a different layer of review. So if he wants to file a lawsuit here, he needs to beat those criminal charges, which perhaps can be done if he has a fair judge looking at this case, because aside from the accident charge, the other ones very well may get thrown out. Why? Because all of this occurred while Bubba was inside his home, and the home is the most highly protected space under the Fourth Amendment of our Constitution. The presumption is that they have to obtain a warrant to go arrest Bubba or to search his house. And if they don't have a warrant, it's presumptively a constitutional violation, a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And it's on the police officers or the prosecutors or the defense lawyers to prove that some exception applies or that they did actually have a warrant. Here, as I understand it, they did not have a warrant. So if they found Bubba while he was at Sonic or something, they could have done all this and it could have been perfectly legal. But because Bubba was inside his home, there's a big difference here. They needed to have obtained a warrant first. There are only a couple exceptions to that. One is consent, if Bubba consented, which he did not. The other main one would be exigent circumstances. If there was some sort of emergency occurring, just because somebody may have left the scene of a go-kart accident, even if injuries were caused, there's no exigency there. The only possible argument for that on behalf of the police would be that there was some sort of evidence that was going to imminently disappear if they didn't get in the house. But it didn't appear that they were trying to search the house. They just wanted Bubba outside, which is exactly what police are not allowed to do. You're not allowed to just skip the warrant requirement and go in Bubba's house and pull him outside. That doesn't negate the fact that Bubba is inside his home. The proper course of conduct here for police officers to engage in is, even if you're worried that Bubba's going to flee, is you have somebody watch Bubba's house, make sure he doesn't leave, and then somebody else goes and obtains a warrant, assuming they have probable cause. That is the legal way of getting Bubba outside and getting access to Bubba when Bubba's in his home. They didn't do that here, so I think there's a good chance all of that could get thrown out. Also, there's a potential excessive force issue here. I had to cut some of it out, but this female officer goes inside Bubba's house, again, without a warrant, and when Bubba displays some physical resistance, she pulls out her taser, and she relies on the taser to try to control this man, and she tases him multiple times. And then she basically gives up because it was ineffective and begins pleading for him to come outside, which ultimately Bubba does. So to the extent that this was an unjustified use of force, which in my opinion it was, because she had no legal justification to be inside the house at all. But again, Bubba has to beat those criminal charges, and it happens all across the country every day that you have illegal actions like this from the police, and nobody really either cares. Like maybe the defense lawyer just gets whatever deal is available. He doesn't bother to file suppression motions and to establish that there was a Fourth Amendment violation. Or maybe he doesn't even watch the video footage. That happens all the time, where lawyers will talk people into pleading guilty to a crime before ever even bothering to watch the body cam footage that by law was supposed to have been turned over to a defendant to review. This happens all the time. And once you plead guilty to something, it's too late. If you can't then go call the civil rights lawyer and say, I want to sue, when you just pled guilty to whatever it is that the cops are alleging that you did. So thanks again to Bubba for submitting the footage. Please let me know how it goes with the criminal charges. I hope you beat them. Let me know if you end up filing a lawsuit. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe at thecivilrightslawyer.com and on here. You can also follow me on Twitter at JohnBryanESQ and at Facebook at John H. Bryan, Attorney at Law page. If you have a video you want me to review, use the submission link below. I'll be happy to take a look at it. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.